Okay, that's enough. Thank you. Don't get too lively yet. Just save it all for later. Hello and welcome to Stripped Down Live. I'm your host, Curt Smith. We're back for episode number 5, which makes us one of the longest running shows on the internet, I believe. Give us another few shows and we may even know what we're doing by then. This week on the show, we have Common Rotation. They are going to be entertaining us for the next hour. I'll be sitting in and talking between, they'll play a few songs, I'll come in and talk. Normal setup, they'll play a couple more. We'll take your questions on the internet. Now, right now, the chat room doesn't seem to be working so well. We're having technical difficulties. Oh no, I'm getting a thumbs up. It just came on. But just in case it's not, like it could always go wrong again, then on Twitter, just fire your questions to @StrippedLive and you will find us there. You can also follow the show at the website, Stripped Down Live. You will find it afterwards on Blip TV, you'll find it on iTunes and most places. So let's welcome, shall we welcome? Please, Common Rotation.
Doesn't have to be clever, it doesn't have to be new, doesn't have to be a guilty pleasure, doesn't have to be true, doesn't have to make sense, it doesn't have to be funny, it doesn't have to make sense, no, it just has to make money. And we sing and we sigh. It doesn't have to say no, it doesn't have to say yes, it doesn't have to have anything to show, it doesn't have to be the best. Well, hey, there's no pressure to perform, to compete. No, there's no cautionary measure to diminish your defeat. We sing bands on the internet side. Still you try too hard, 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 try too hard. But no, that's not the way it should be. No, 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 it should come off so easy. No, that's not the way it should be. It doesn't have to be clever, it doesn't have to be new, it doesn't have to go on forever, and it doesn't have to be true. It's true. But still you try too hard, still you try too hard, still you try too hard, 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 try too hard.
Everybody wants you so bad. Everybody wants, everybody wants, everybody wants. Everybody wants a little taste of something they've never had. It's a choice. It's the way I use my voice. I said, oh, oh, oh.
Everybody wants someone to blame for the things that haven't happened yet to them. Everybody wants some of the shame, something to bring to feel better when they are feeling less than. It's a choice. It's the way I use my voice. I said, oh, 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 oh,
This is what I bring.
oh, oh, oh,
This is how I sing.
oh, oh, oh. It may sound like some overgeneralization, but there's no more truth in advertising. Yeah, man, it's a hard sell. These days we're overwhelmed by so much information. What it is I'm supposed to be overanalyzing, you know, it's getting harder to tell.
Jenny, I'm not saying the people at this party aren't hip enough for me. You know, never had much sense of style. And I ain't saying I'll always be as interesting as I am right now. I was just hoping you might stay with me for a while. It's a choice. It's the way I use my voice. I said, oh, 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 oh. This is what I bring.
Oh, oh, oh.
This is how I sing.
Oh, oh, oh.
It's a choice. It's the way I use my voice. I said, oh, 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 this is what I bring. Oh, 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 this is how I sing. Oh, 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 that's short. This next song's a love song. Love songs seem to go off better when they're in tune.
And we're going to perform it stripped down live, which for those of you who have seen us before, it's the same scenario. It's the same setup. We're always acoustic.
Rose on my window's edge is withered away. I'm trying to make some sense of what's left of this day. And I'm around, I'll be around. Sounds just like something people say. Bluebird at my side is made of colored glass. It spreads the sun across everything. All that must pass, and I'm around, I'll be around. It sounds just like something you would say, but you don't say. Don't say. Saturday night, let's hit our favorite spot. From our first couple of dances to our last parting shots. I'm alright, I'm alright, I'll be alright. I'm fine, it's just you and me tonight. See, I've been a Romeo, and I've seen a Juliet, and that's a tragic story, babe, but they both asked for it. And I'm around, I'll be around. There's something I need to learn from theirs, and everyone will be calling us home, dear. And we'll sit by the land, see you fall here. We'll stay out real late, be as loud as we can be. We'll wake every living thing, shake every bird from its tree. But the bluebird on my window's edge shines just for you, and killed the stolen rose and all my sadness too. And I'm around, I'll be around. That sounds just like something people say. It may sound just like some tired old cliche, but the truth is always burning through. This bird that's forever blue. For you, for you.
It's nothing like rearranging the furniture when you have to like talk to someone. I feel like I'm sort of all mellow after that last song now, I have to say. I'm saying before when I came here, and I'm like all the information you get on people you're going to talk to, and I got to say with you guys I'm kind of stuck as to where to even start. It seems you do many things, you know. So I want to start with Jordan working with Ghostface Killer, actually. That was pretty much what I wanted to start with. But seeing her over there and unmiked, you all grew up together, Long Island. Yeah. You were, what, how old, 12, 13 when you started playing together? So how did you make your way out this way?
I was a child actor, so I came out here for work. And we all kind of drove a car together, got a house, and started living together and playing music while I was working in television. So that was the draw for the West Coast. And we really just wanted a place where we could make a record and live in a house together, and it seemed affordable at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good reason to move to LA.
Yeah.
Now you're all still based here?
Yeah.
Yep. And when you first came out, and I saw that you actually even did a TV show together initially, where there was on an episode where you both on the jury. Did I see that?
Yes,
Yes, you were.
yes.
You know, and like they even like did a TV one. Was it just one episode you both were on?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you went on to do Buffy the Vampire Slayer and other things, and
We played a different folk duo on the TV show.
oh, you did? It was on the TV. Oh, you actually played a
No,
folk
we
duo?
didn't.
No.
That'd be great.
This was your kind of. That was the end of it for acting.
That was
for you?
it, yeah.
That was it. You were just.
That was
gonna
my
go
moment in the sun, yeah.
And then just
Yeah.
thought, you know, this
I
is
had
not for
it.
me. I'm
I lost
gonna
it.
play music.
He went on after that. He did a whole,
Carried on.
I'm extremely jealous. But
Although I've I mean, listening and reading all of that, you guys, that well, for you once, Adam, you actually wanted to be a stand-up comedian initially. I heard.
I did.
How did that do?
It didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
No, it didn't
You
work
thought
out.
the acting thing was going to be better.
Yeah, I was just a little hostile for a kid actor, a
Right.
kid comic. You have to be precocious.
The little kids are not the angry comics. You have
No.
to be a bit older to be the angry comic.
No, I was doing really kind of hostile humor.
Like blue comedy.
You had like 10 or 11.
Oh, really?
And it was mostly not funny and kind of mean. And there wasn't really a market for that in New York City at the time.
You were well, there's certainly a market for it in New York City, but you were a few years ahead of...
I was taking classes from a comic named Uncle Dirty. 10. And the material that we had
It wasn't
set
a
up
Roman
with.
Catholic priest also, was it? I don't know if I want to be taking... I don't know if I want to be taking lessons from a comic called Uncle Dirty.
Oh, he's great. He's great. Yeah. He's still performing in New York. You can still catch him.
Now, did you end up living in Manhattan, or were you always kind of based in Long Island before you came here?
I lived in Manhattan for a while, and I was going back and forth for a while, but now it's
Right.
been just out here.
Right. And then do you find, like, when you were playing music at, I mean, it's interesting, because I'm listening to, obviously, the music you make and everything, and I actually lived in New York for sort of 10 years, and I can see why even musically you kind of maybe want to get out of Manhattan and come here, or elsewhere but Manhattan. I mean, to me, it's like there weren't a lot of bands like you in Manhattan when I lived there.
No.
No, not at all. There wasn't much of a folk scene happening at the time.
I mean, did you feel it when you were living there? It's kind of, this is really not the place for us, or was it just, as you say, by chance that you came?
What I
here?
felt was not a sense of community. I did not
Right.
feel like musicians were getting together and working
Right.
and playing each other's songs and forming bands. And as we'd suspected out here, it doesn't stop finding people to work with and
Right.
shows and things like this. Just everybody's working on something, and everybody wants to you to be a part of it. Everyone wants to work together. In New York, it's like, we'll stab you in the heart before I'll give you 5 minutes of set time.
Or when you're playing live, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. I actually met some nicer musicians in New York, but I guess it depends on your experience. But it was actually in one specific place. I ended up having this studio where there were a bunch of other artists that had studios in like really crappy little. Like,
Where was that?
The studios actually were in Brooklyn, just the other side of the bridge. They lived in Manhattan, most of them, a few in Brooklyn. But we actually used to go between the studios and kind of play on each other's records. And
Oh, that's great.
we need backing vocals. Let's go get Kenny to come in and
Wow.
do backing vocals. So that I had a good experience. But I can see that unless you kind of find the right few people to work with, I mean, I think people in Los Angeles tend to be a lot more open.
Yeah.
Most of the, some of the time genuine. I think in the music, like within musicians, it's pretty genuine. Obviously, there's the other side of LA. Did you find that hard to deal with?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a desperation that you can feel in the air. I mean, sometimes this town is like it's like a hotel lobby where everybody's at a convention at the hotel for the same reason, and you go downstairs to the lobby and everybody has their little name tag on,
Right.
and it's just a given that we're all here for this convention, even if we don't know each other. That's what this whole city feels like sometimes. Everybody's here for the same thing, and you can just assume.
Well, you can assume everyone's in the entertainment industry
Right.
in some way, shape, or form, I guess. Yeah, and will climb up on you if they need to get somewhere.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of the time. I
But while they're climbing on you, you get a nice little moment together,
yeah.
and that's nice.
Well, are you hoping to grab onto them as they climb up? I
Yes.
feel
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Yeah.
the premise, and then follow them up the ladder. But you seem to have been like always pretty anti-corporate or any kind of those kind of hierarchies where those things matter, you know.
Yeah.
Did you feel? I mean, let's go. Well, let's talk about How to Lose. Say,
Okay.
I mean, which is basically, you were doing a support tour, playing all Clear Channel venues, right? Were they?
Mm-hmm.
And you went off and played in people's living rooms, and you made a documentary of it.
Yeah.
And in fact, you have a track called Clear Channel, which pretty much sums up your feelings about that. And the only way I could, if anyone hasn't heard the track Clear Channel, I think the only way you can sum it up is it becomes obvious what a misnomer that name is, being Clear Channel. But so is that like a conscious decision to not involve yourself in that side of it, or at least to have a balance between the two?
I think a balance is healthy, to try at least. I don't like when things come between the music and the people. It's nice
Right.
to just bring it together as much as possible, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think that's true, and I think that the death of the conglomerates, which we're starting to see, can't be anything but a good thing. I mean, even little shows like this and places where people can go that they can find things that aren't programmed by a programmer who is hired by a man in a suit somewhere who needs to have X number of hits on his radio station, have a certain viewing figure, listening figure, otherwise they get fired. So I mean, it's all consumerism. Obviously, it's not based on talent particularly. But So with the documentary How to Lose, did you, which one did you find more enjoyable? Was it I mean, to go out in front of like bigger audiences or to play in the living rooms?
I think it was, we felt equally as excited about both, you know, sometimes. You know, who doesn't like playing in front of large audiences,
Yeah.
you know, in a theater? But there's something memorable about that tour and those shows in people's living rooms, that, you know, that intimacy that, you know, we really enjoy playing, and we sound amazing. That's our element right there. Is
Well, I mean, the way you said about, as you explained
Yeah.
beforehand,
Yeah.
this is how
Yeah.
we play. We're
Yeah.
acoustic. So, I mean, to be
Yeah.
honest, I don't know. I mean, if you're anything like me, sometimes the best performances you do, which would be in a living room, would be with no microphones even.
That's the
I
point.
mean,
Yeah.
you sit there and you just play.
That's what we do. We play these clear channel houses, and then at the end of the show, no matter what size the venue, we would do a song without mics at the end, make everybody be quiet, and we'd sing our song, and then we'd say, if you want to see us tomorrow, we'll be at this guy's house. And we'd name the street. That was very
And
local.
how did you
Go to the
find
merch
guy?
table on the internet.
Yeah.
Just
We're coming through your town. If you have a living room you'd like us to play, give us
Right.
the address. We'll give the address out at the show, and then we'll be there. And we'd show up at these living rooms, and kids, they couldn't believe.
no. I mean, I find it fascinating. Yeah. I mean, if you play smaller places, you know, that you aren't expected to play, and you end up, well, you end up feeling a part of an audience for one thing. I mean, you feel there's more of a group feeling than you would get when you're separated by a stage and
Yeah.
people are at arm's length.
The idea that music only happens here.
Yeah.
It only happens here. We don't like that. Music can happen anywhere, at any place, at any time.
And as far as involving people, and I found it interesting, which the Union made, which is, you know, basically this is before Twitter, and really it even started to be probably the early days of Facebook, even if I'm thinking about it when you started. And so you were into social media way before everyone kind of caught on to it. It would
Yeah.
appear.
Yeah, I think it was before MySpace. I think I don't. It might have been. Yeah.
So
we
so
started-
basically, since
Yeah.
the Union made started, MySpace has come and gone.
yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as
Yeah.
it's
And their millions have been made. and
yes,
it's moved on.
yes, of course.
That's
yeah.
the part we haven't figured out
Yeah.
yet.
We
No,
don't.
you didn't sell the
We
fox
figured
at
out-
the right time.
No.
No.
Giving it away
Bad.
free, that we've got down.
Yeah.
Right.
How to make money off that.
Yeah,
Spread
I
awareness.
think if I get like Mike, the producer director over the mics going, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
We know how to do it. We know how to give it away. We're just trying to work out how to make money from it. Make a living.
Yeah.
We're not asking for a lot. Just make a living.
Mhm.
And with
That sounds great.
and the other thing I found fascinating, and you can just go there, by the way. Is it just unionmade.com? It's
TheUnionMade.com.
TheUnionMade.com.
Yeah.
And you actually, you know, post works in progress as well. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
something you
Mhm.
may have just done, and
Just a verse
put it
or
up.
chorus of a song, and you know.
because
just
I
a
mean, you
melody or
must,
something.
it seems you're very prolific. I mean, I'm just talking from the side of an interviewer right now, where I'm looking at the set list for tonight, which I was given, and I'm like, okay, I can find one song. Good.
Oh, yeah. Most of the
And
songs
but
are on records.
I found a second one because I found it on the Union Made, the beginnings of the song.
Right.
So you know, I mean, I could, because obviously you must have like a rapid turnover of songs. I mean, one would, it seems anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It used to be once a day, and now I think it's once or twice a week at the moment. Right now, you know.
Oh, so you're in a
things are
barren patch then.
Yes. Yeah. But
You need to
you
get
know,
more creative.
or a full song a week. Yeah. Yeah. But you know, bits and pieces. You know, we try and keep our fans entertained by
Right.
you know the diehard fans. Want to hear something new all the time.
Yeah. No, I found it fascinating, and listening to snippets of songs,
Yeah.
and the fact that, you know, if you go on there, you can grade them. So then you get some feedback. Which is, you know, well, people are really like gravitating towards this one. Maybe we should finish that one.
Yeah.
And maybe it gives you some incentive.
It's
to
happened.
finish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, constant approval is great.
any pat on the back.
Yeah, if we can find a
Especially
way
when
to,
you're not making any money off.
Yeah,
of
if we
it.
can find a way to make money from the pat
Right.
on the back.
from just being judged all the time, that'd be great.
Okay, so the monetizing thing, it's not been quite worked out, but the rest, the interaction you've got.
Oh,
down.
I mean, it's amazing. It all depends who you talk to, especially in this town. You talk to somebody who's an artist and you explain we have this service where we give away free songs, and they're like, that's amazing, that's Twitter, that's everything that's going on right now. You guys are on the cutting edge. I talk to any business person and they're like, what's wrong with you?
Like songs are your product.
Yeah.
and you should be selling them.
But you
and,
still
know,
own them.
Yeah.
So, but you want me to give you some songs and then you own them? correct? I mean, this is the business.
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
Well, just
yeah.
the idea that there's no subscribing, there's no anything. It's just we're just giving it away and have been for like 6, 7 years.
Right. And so where do you derive your income from?
That's a good question. Good question.
Did you take the bus here?
Well, like all of us, we all do a lot of different things
Yeah.
and a lot of different gigs, and we back other musicians, and we do
Right.
variety shows, and radio
Yeah.
shows, and we
Oh, wait,
play.
we'll get into it because I noticed you have some shows, and one specifically at Largo coming
Yeah.
up. Right.
Yeah,
Tell us about that one because I know it's coming up soon.
it's called the Thrilling Adventure Hour. and
Right.
It stars. Yeah. It's just an amazing show that we started with at the M Bar. It's an old-time radio show.
Right.
It's done in the style of old-time radio, but it's on a stage. It's not actually on the radio. And people hold scripts and they do these serial, comedy works with
And who
all these
started
great
it?
comedians. Acker and Blacker,
Okay.
who are these great
Yeah.
writers.
And they actually wrote a film you directed.
They
correct?
did.
Yeah.
They did. You see what I'm talking about? This whole everybody
can
just
find
working
everything,
together.
yeah.
It's great. I really
No,
like
I mean
that.
I love the collective thing. I mean the whole collective and working with you have a set bunch of people that you do certain things with, and then you jump in and do things together.
And we found doing this show that comedians really like music and
Yeah.
like being around musicians,
It wa-
and musicians love being around comics because
Yeah.
musicians are all, we don't want to talk, we just want to play.
we
And
certainly don't
comedians are
wanna
like, please can we talk, please can we talk? So you get them together and it's great.
Actually, that's strange because I once had a conversation a long time ago when Comedy Central kind of started up, I guess, but
Yeah.
how they were programming music and it was a guy who actually worked at MTV who went over to be president of Comedy Central, and I was of the opinion that comedy and music didn't go together. I'm like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And now, of course, I find myself that I actually, if I have Sirius, I listen to comedy more than I listen to music,
Yeah.
just in the car. It's just one of those things. I think you're right. I think maybe because comics, they want to talk, and us, we talk when we sing.
I think the one thing they have in common is that it's almost impossible to find a running show on TV that just does music or just does comedy.
Right.
Any like stand-up, we're going to get a bunch of comics together, those specials go away. And any kind of serial once-a-week show, it just goes away. And any show that's just musicians playing songs, different musicians every week, they all go away. Why is that?
Except for The Idol.
Except for The Idol, which is
right.
based around like
Well,
a game show
Yeah,
or something.
right, yeah.
Which you wrote a song about also.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, I just segue into that, The Idol, which actually was a pretty amusing song, I have to say, listening to it earlier. I'm guessing, to me, he's like some southern country guy who's just down there going, people are going to pay attention to me when I get on The Idol, kind of thing. It was quite amusing. But, having been, I actually went in to be interviewed as a judge for Idol, so I'm like, it's a bit peculiar.
How'd it go?
Dreadful. You think, no, I can't see this.
Were you the mean guy or the nice guy?
I think they presumed because I had an English accent I'd be the mean guy, but because I'm not, it wasn't, was never going to be that kind of thing. But it was an amusing experience anyway. Let's get on to more music, and we'll discuss more later. Going to play a couple more for us now, and then afterwards we're going to take. Is our chat room still running? Yep. We're up and I'm getting that. That's always really We already have questions. Okay, so we're going to take some questions after the next couple of songs. Please welcome back Common Rotation.
Union made. It's off a record we did with a bluegrass outfit called the Dust Bowl Cavaliers.
Write you a song a day to prove my love is real. Each one will have something new to say. dependent on how I feel. You will be praised, you will be praised for all your hard work and trouble to be repaid. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Put your faith in the hands of the union maid. Like a siren in the night, she will sing to speak the truth aloud. With busted keys and missing strings, she will sing her song so proud. You will be praised, you will be praised for all your hard work and trouble to be repaid. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Put your faith in the hands of the union maid. When you're lost out at sea, you will hear her sweet melody. You can't survive on your will all alone. When you venture so far from your home, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. For all the hard work and trouble to be repaid. Don't be afraid, you will be praised. Put your faith in the hands of the union maid. Put your faith in the hands of the union maid.
This next song is about all the friends we've made in town while we've lived here. Is that what it's about?
Little Hollywood girl, I'm your biggest fan. If you'd stop looking at yourself, I could be your man.
You hate guys and parties who wanna get in your pants, unless they know somebody, they'll never give the chance. We're supposed to be so impressed with how on command you can cry, with how well you are dressed, and how you played a corpse on CSI.
Little Hollywood girl, I'm your biggest fan. If you'd stop looking at yourself, I could be your man. Little Hollywood girl, stop selling your soul and using both holes to take all that you can. Little Hollywood girl, I hear you're making a scene. I see you're forming a band, or is it a comedy team? Oh, little Hollywood girl, I'd like to learn to love you, but I've been listening all night, and you're not funny, you're just mean. You say you just want a good guy that is sweet and sincere. There's no time for true love. You're focused on your career, little Hollywood girl. Don't say I'm so cruel, because I paid to see your show, and I'm laughing at you, little Hollywood girl. Heard you signed a big deal. Do you think they'd like me? I could send them my reel. I could get them my headshot just as fast as I can. Little Hollywood girl, I'm your Hollywood man.
I'm sure I've met that girl. I think.
I'm positive you
May have
have.
been last night, actually. I get the feeling there were a couple there.
Where were you?
Where was I last night? No, Bardo. Do you know where Bardo is? No, in Hollywood. But, no, I was playing last night. It actually wasn't those kind of. Maybe there was some. It's Hollywood. There had to be. Sure.
There's usually one or two.
There had to be. There had to be. But that was. That's funny to come after discussing about, you know, unless they can tread on you, unless you can grab hold of them and go on, follow them on the way up, which was. We do actually have some questions coming in. I think. Well, I'm told there's quite a few questions. Let's go to a few, and then there was a couple other things I want to discuss, but we'll get into that. Betty Bite is back in the chat room. Asks, were you influenced by the Traveling Wilburys or James Taylor?
Only as a group, the Traveling Wilburys, not individually. Individually, not interested.
I've never really heard any Bob Dylan solo stuff, but
I heard it's good. I hear a lot about it.
Yeah.
I'm just a big,
Yeah, I don't even know who they are. No.
Do you really?
No, I do. Of course. But yeah, actually I wasn't a fan of the Bob Dylan, so but that's just me. Going on up, if not then who? Oh no, well if not then who, but actually we don't have to answer who because it wasn't if not, right? How do you come up with the concept for the Wasted Words video?
We were invited to play in some Eskimo fishing villages in Alaska. The Yupik Indians, they vote every year on having somebody from the mainland come and stay with them and like teach them how to help with their fishing or help with raising their kids. And for like 5 years we got an email saying the tribal we nominated you to the tribal elders, you might be coming. Oh, you didn't win. And we never really thought much about it until they were like, the tribal elders said yes, you're coming to Kotlik, Alaska.
To where, Alaska?
Kotlik.
Okay. Get the name right.
That's what it's called.
It's an easy one to get wrong, I'm guessing.
And it's really far away and very isolated, but we jump at any chance to play in non-traditional venues.
Right.
So
even in the ice and cold.
We got our suits.
This is Wasted was the one that did Amber direct that one?
She did, yeah.
Yes.
And we went over there and brought a bunch of Super 8 cameras, and while we were there, we shot this video.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was a very cool, I have to say. Lucy99 in the chat room asks, what did you do after high school? Did you go straight into a band, or did you shuffle about and find your way into music? Well, Jordan went to University of Albany, to study political science, but I'm not sure that's really a subject. I was just answering on behalf of you because you don't have a microphone over there, and then made his way back to the two of you. Like
Jordan and I both went to school, and you know, at some point made a conscious decision to leave school and play music.
Was it one of those things that you couldn't really deny? I mean, I'm interested purely because I see. If I'm looking, searching around on the web, which is the joy of the web now, but I see like there are clips of you busking because if I'm not playing music somewhere, I'm just going to find somewhere to go play it.
Yeah.
One of the funniest quotes I saw in one of them, it was a write-up in, I guess, in Orange County, somewhere down there. I don't know, but it was the Huntington Beach thing that you do, and mentioning about the Woody Guthrie influence and the song stuff and how it's not really necessarily made for down here, and the fact that you can come behind the orange curtain. I've never heard that phrase, behind the orange curtain.
It's very conservative down there.
No, I know.
Oh yeah. And but they respond to me. I don't know. I do well down there.
But talking about the subject of when you get to the point where this is what I do.
Yeah.
This is what I do. So if I've got no other opportunity, I just need to go out and play somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I chose to come out here from New York and left my friends and family and my school.
Tried
and
the
all
acting
that stuff.
thing for 10
Tried
seconds.
the acting thing when I came out here. Didn't work out for me. So I'm a singer-songwriter and troubadour or whatever. So
it's what you do.
Yeah.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that Burn Paper Moon? I really need glasses. In the chat room asks, are there any artists on Top 40 radio that you actually respect? This is under the presumption that you listen to Top 40 radio, of course. What's on Top 40 radio?
Is there a Top 40
I don't know.
radio?
I'm not convinced there is, really. But
Can
I guess
pick from a list?
like Kiss FM or something. Is that Top 40?
Kiss are okay. I like Kiss.
Yeah. Kiss. Not the FM bit, but Kiss. No, I don't know about them. No, you're not a big fan of the Ryan Seacrest show in the morning kind of thing.
No.
I've never heard his music.
No, strange.
He seems like he'd be good.
Yeah. Well, you should try. I'm not convinced he's that.
You don't want to say anything bad about Idol. I understand.
No, I can't really.
Things are
no,
still
I
works.
know that bridge has already been burnt. I mean, so I can say it's many bad things. Yeah. Let's scroll. Oh, what was that about Lady Gaga? Lady Gaga was the question mark. You didn't get to that bit. Do
I
you
like the
Lady
politics
Gaga?
a lot. I think
I do
she's doing
came out
politically
today.
great.
That was great. Did you see that?
No, what'd she do?
That was yesterday in the. Was the one in Boston?
Don't
The
ask,
thing she
don't
did in
tell.
Boston.
Yeah,
Maine.
Was
Was
it?
it?
Great.
Was it in Maine? Okay.
That's great.
Why did I think it was in Boston?
It's all over.
It's around that area.
New England.
It's up there somewhere. Yes, that was that didn't pass today.
No, it
unfortunately. It didn't get to a vote. It wasn't voted. They only voted on putting it to a vote.
Yeah.
It's very complicated, the American sort
It
of
is.
system.
In a little time, they'll get it through.
Yeah, one would hope. I mean, my biggest bugbear today, which I did tweet about, was John McCain celebrating the fact on the floor. He was high-fiving all the other, Republicans that managed to kill
Probably
him. to go into a
low-fiving. He
vote.
can't really raise his
Well,
hands.
it's
above.
one.
Right.
Side-fiving. I believe it's called side-fiving. He was
Yeah,
side-fiving. Oh, that's just plain mean. But you know what? John McCain.
Well, so is he. He's
Right,
playing.
yeah,
Yes, he is
he is.
plain nasty.
And his
You are
daughter's
right.
going to be very upset with him.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah. Well, but he's running for re-election in a very conservative district, and he needs to be doing those things, I guess.
I guess.
But one would hope he would actually do something, vote by his conscience as opposed to his pocketbook. But anyway, that's just a stupid theory.
Yeah.
Watcher562 on Twitter asks, what would be your dream gig?
You want to feel that?
This is it right now. This is great. Yeah. Those people you love in the room, everybody's really supportive. It sounds great.
Yeah.
It is sounding good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, well, leaving out the last bit, it's all perfect, really.
It's a little hot.
Oh, yeah. Request. I told you you'd be schwitzing by the end of it. I told you. You got the jacket, you got the sweatshirt.
I know,
It
it's a
gets
little too
warm in
much.
here. I mean, I
overdress.
come dressed for it. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm next week, I'm just not even wearing the shirt, I think. I'm aware of.
I'm glad we're not.
too old. I'm too old.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have requests. This is actually not even a question. It's really, these are just requests. Please come back to Big Sur and the Midwest.
Yes.
Where technically is the Midwest? Because one would think it's in the middle, but slightly to the west. But this is not really
the country
case.
I come from is called the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where?
Mountain to mountain. Appalachia to the rock.
Yeah.
But that would just be mid, wouldn't it? I mean, isn't it mid?
That's not.
East Coast, everything west of the Hudson is west.
It's just gone, right? So basically, it's the Midwest because anywhere on the East Coast is not taking ownership of any of the rest of it, is what you're saying.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah.
That's the, I mean, we tour the East Coast and the West Coast a lot, but we don't go across very often. But we should
Not
more.
in the middle, yeah. The
No.
middle
Get
is
to
very
Chicago
interesting.
and
The middle
Minneapolis.
is very different to the rest of it. But I mean, it was interesting coming here as an Englishman. I mean, I've lived in America for 22 years, but discovering America as an Englishman, seeing how radically different it is from place to place. I understand my first experience when I was 18 was Charleston, South Carolina, which was an interesting intro into what America's like. So I didn't have the, I didn't have a high opinion because this is back in 1979. So it was, it wasn't the most pleasant place if you're dressed slightly differently, or I mean, I had braids in my hair down to here then, because I was kind of trendy back then. Well, at least I thought so.
Yeah, was that the trend back then?
Well, apparently so, yeah. Well, this is English. I'm qualifying it by saying in England. But I used to get abused on the street. I mean, people would actually stop and abuse me, people in South Carolina, which is kind of weird. But this is before MTV. So it was before people saw.
What would they say?
Well, I mean, N-word lover was most of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because they were braids, I guess. I don't know.
When I was calling for Obama and I was calling the Midwest, getting people to vote,
You were
I
getting-
got called the same thing.
Yeah, it still exists, weirdly enough. But did you get, when you, I mean, I get on to another question, when you moved to LA, and because you came from New York, I moved from New York to LA as well, but did you get your New York friends going, oh, you can't do that. It's LA, it's a...
Still get that. Still get that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're New Yorkers at heart, though. We can't take that out of us.
No, I mean, when you go back, you still feel completely, like, comfortable home.
Yeah.
In New York, I mean. Adam's looking at me like, no, not me.
No, I
You
feel
talk
more
for
at home
yourself,
there.
pal.
I do feel more at home there
Yeah.
in New York.
I mean, it just seems that once you're there for any amount of time, and you grew up there, obviously. I mean, I just lived there for like 10 years, but anytime I go back, I'm like, this feels comfortable and right, and until I introduce. Well, when I go back on my own, that's how it feels. Then I take my children, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't feel so right anymore. And my children are kind of walking around going, is this normal? Is this that person
It always
normal?
smells like
Is
this.
that
Yes, it
weird?
does.
Yes, people do ask you for money for no reason on the street. Yes, that happens. Back to questions. Sarah August in the chat room asks, I would like to hire common rotation. Here you go. See, we can make this into a money-making thing.
Great.
All right.
Here we go.
Great.
How much do they charge, and how can I contact them? Who handles your negotiations?
Jordan wants
Is
to
that
step in
Jordan?
here.
Is it?
He'll handle it.
Jordan
I mean,
handles the
should we
business.
just put a lot, and email me? I would say a lot, and I believe if you go to commonrotation.com, there is actually probably a contact little thing there, right?
Probably not, because we're bad at this stuff.
There's a
your
contact
email
button.
on there?
Okay, then
Trust me. Okay,
Yeah.
I've obviously
No?
looked at it more recently.
Or
than-
Jordan's on Twitter. You
Yeah.
should just go to
Yes.
Trumpet Jory
Yeah.
and first
Trumpet
start off with
Jory.
how much you have, and
add,
then he'll let you
add
know.
some of your friends to that,
Uh-huh.
and then multiply it by 5, and you're close.
Uh-huh.
Is my guess.
Will there be snacks? Find out if there's going to be snacks. Of any
Yeah.
kind.
Yes, exactly. What's the? Does it include a night stay? Where is it? That kind of thing.
Exactly.
What's your Twitter name again, Jordan?
Trumpet Jory.
Jory, J
Jory at Trumpet Jory.
Jory at Trumpet Jory, Jory on Twitter. Okay. Poopostrous, I love that name each time I get to say it. Was the choice of instruments in the band driven entirely by the talents or by a decision to achieve a specific sound?
Well, that's a good question.
I'd say a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think,
Well, especially seeing you grew up together. I mean,
Yeah.
were there times where you didn't play something as well as you play it, and then you go, yeah, but I got to stick with this because this is what fits in?
Jordan picked up the banjo like 2 years ago, right? 3 years ago? Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
Well, still, that's pretty
yeah,
recent. I mean,
Yeah.
that's some good banjo playing for just 5 years.
Um,
And that was out of necessity?
yeah,
I played bass. Can they
Right.
hear me?
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
shout loud enough, and
Yeah.
I'll repeat
I
you.
played bass for a little while, and it was just the three of us.
Right.
And one day I showed up to rehearsal, and they said, "We don't want you to play bass anymore." Well, what am I going to do in the band? And I was inspired. I went out and I bought a banjo, and I came to the next rehearsal, and I said, I'm a banjo player now.
My gut player is if I turn up with a washboard tomorrow, I'm going to be in, right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Am I
definitely.
going to be in?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Where do I get a washboard is the question.
At a laundromat.
Laundromat? Yes. I'm sure they still have them in the laundromats nowadays.
Actually, they'd be putting the laundromats out of business.
They'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah, and also, how do you dry your clothes? There's a mangle over there. It's
Yeah.
be one of those. It'll have to be a very old laundromat. Mark Aaron James in the chat room asks, what have been the most surprising outlets your music has found an audience through? So I guess how people have found you.
The
And
tribal
Pandora
elders in
question.
Kotlik, Alaska, that was pretty weird.
That actually, yes.
That was a weird place to have our music. We some of our songs are a little ironic or
Really, I
play
hadn't
with
noticed
sincerity.
that.
So we have some songs that talk about religion that people have mistaken for religious songs and that have gotten play on Christian radio. And then we've been invited to play
But that's always great.
Christian events.
Have you gone to play the Christian event?
Yeah, and you do
Yeah.
the song sincerely, and everybody likes it.
That's strange. I actually had I was actually the same time. I was in an airport one time. This cute old couple sitting opposite me, and they loved my T-shirt. They were about 70, 80, and by their accents they were from the south, I'm guessing. And it was a gold thing with a gold, but it had a cross on it in the middle. And they were like loving it, and I realized what they thought it was, and I didn't have the heart to tell them it's the Jägermeister symbol.
Yeah.
It's strange how people can take things the wrong way.
Yeah.
No, it's just me getting my drink on. Is that the end of questions for now? Okay, so let's, we're going to do a couple more songs. I'm going to come back, say goodbye, and then you'll play us out, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's hear it again for Common Rotation, please. This one.
Next song is going to feature some clay.
There's one more cliche turned on its head, and the truth is I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore.
It's a laughing matter, and I am dead certain that I've played the straight man too many times before. Or a vaudeville routine,
Or Abbott and Costello.
I have played the younger fellow, and I've seen the same things done.
Doesn't bother me. Does it bother anyone?
I can watch endless hours of television,
And I can't believe I'm riding on
in the hopes to one day make the news cycle.
to be named champion of my own hell.
Or a dead man strung up all by himself.
Well, I could care more for this tortured soul. I could care less about your racing woe. 'Cause I'm giving up on giving up.
Yes, I've given up on giving up.
And the cold water flat on the upper west side, my friends stand still as they change what they wear.
From the dry foundation to the higher white plane, where the mothers and the fathers still pass with care, and the master handed out as we quickly get drunk, and we've all ripped off the same clowns, all made up and broke. It's like we're sitting around waiting for Ashton to come and tell us we've been punked, or we've all been the brunt of some cruel joke. To know the heckler in the back row, that woman wouldn't stop chatting all through the show. Well, I could care more for this tortured soul. I could care less about who you know, 'cause I've given up on giving up. Yes, I've given up on giving up. Well, it looks like we still pray for rain after we send this world on fire, and we've used these wars that never seem to stop. And we're all hoping someday we're captured at the mercy of some other side, slowly beaten until we talk. Right now, we're just listening to two blown out speakers, making the buzz of a million screaming children. So we put ourselves down just to hoist ourselves back up, 'cause we know this end, it doesn't have an end, and that's entertainment.
I'm going to come in now quickly just to say goodnight, I think. So I'd like to thank Common Rotation. Thank you, Jordan, Adam, Eric. And we'll be back next week, so I'm going to let Common Rotation play on. I'd like to thank the crew. I'd like to thank New Tech, of course, for the TriCaster. We'll be back to our regular time next Wednesday at 8 p.m., I believe. Yes, I am. It's my fault, this Tuesday thing, but next week, we'll be back to normal on Wednesday, 8 p.m. We'll see you then. Thank you to Common Rotation.
We'd like to thank all our sponsors. Thanks. Bottle last just dried up, left a lot to be decided. The candle just past the wick, it's come down to the White House. The flame turns blue, the lowest pouring fire. Done just without it, off a sample garden, and less than that. But yeah, I'll be in this shaky moment. One more solid reason, and I'll be leaving with give on sound. Yes, I've been leaving now for some time.
drunk bags and a sober smile, but this tip-worthy elation only lasts for a while. It's temporary medication. It's medicine from the poorly wise. Yeah, I'm going to where the homes become immaculate and they stock that better wine. The counting's always accurate, 'cause it's measured in time. There's the aftertaste. The taste that comes before the bottom line. That's why I've been leaving with give on the side. Yes, I'll be leaving now for some time. They're exchanging used car lots for churches and pawn shops for patients, with neon-lit beer signs, Christmas lights for all occasions. Yeah, they're all looking for an excuse. They're all looking for the same pretty persuasion. But I'm hearing all engine talk, the memory of motion. It's that train in the distance. It's the sign of the oceans of fear of believing. Believing all of this could never end. And that's why I've been leaving with give on sound. Yes, I'll be leaving now for some time.
But I'm not. I forgot to mention October 2nd, correct?
Yes.
October 2nd at Largo, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
October 2nd at Largo, October 11th, Echo Curio
Yes.
in Echo Park. Anything else you want to find out, commonrotation.com. The Union Maid, and make sure you spell the maid MAID.com. That's it.
It would be an honor and a privilege to bring up Mr. John DiMaggio. Is he here? Oh, he's here.
Fly like paper, get high like planes. You catch me at the border, I got visas is my name. Come round here, make 'em all day. Pass one down in a second if you wait. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every stop they make is just clocking that game. And everyone's a winner, just making their fame. I'm a bona fide hustler, just making my name. All I wanna do is take and take your money. All I wanna do is take and take your money. Sticks and stones and weeds and bones, running when we hit 'em. Lethal poison through their system. Pirates, golden bones. Sticks and stones and weeds and bones, running when we hit 'em. Lethal poison through their system. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Pass me the banner, prepay while us. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. We're pretty going hard just a pumping that gas. No one on the corner has swagger like us. Pass me the banner, prepay while us. We pack and deliver like UPS trucks. We're pretty going hard just a pumping that gas. And all I wanna do is
take your money, all I wanna do is tip. And take your money, all I wanna do is. And take your money, all I wanna do is tip. And take your money.
All I wanna do, all I wanna do, is take your money. All I want, all I want.
So I let it, so I let go. So my mother, 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 so I let go.
John DiMaggio.